One Piece is packed with tons of characters, but some of them look nothing like their actual age. For example, Kosuke Momonosuke's body is biologically 28 years old, so he of course looks like he's 28, but he's actually only 8 years old. During the battle in Onigashima, things weren't looking great for Luffy and the Ally forces because, well, Kaido is just OP. So, as Momo felt useless and couldn't do anything to help, Momo asked Shinobu to use her devil fruit powers to age his body 20 years, as her ability lets her age anything she touches, which she, of course, did. So, boom! Momo's dragon form became just as massive as Kaido's, and thanks to his new size, he helped Luffy get back to the fight and even took on Kaido himself. So yeah, even though he looks like a grown man, he's still an 8-year-old at heart, and being the Shogun of Wano at that age is crazy, but if anyone can handle it, it's Momo. Now we've got Jewelry Bonnie, and she looks like she's about Zoro's age, right? Maybe in her early 20s? Well, if you thought so, you're technically right. Her physical appearance is estimated to be around 22 to 24. But Bonnie is actually only 12 years old. So how's that possible? Well, it's all thanks to the powers of her Age fruit. The Age fruit lets her change her age at will, which is why she can make herself look like a grown woman in her 20s. She can even change other people's ages, like when she turned Luffy into an old man. But this is Bonnie's true appearance, a 12-year-old kid. Oh, and that also means that she was only 10 years old when she made her debut at Saba Odi pre-time skip and saved Zoro, which is pretty insane. Moving on, we've got another young ruler just like Momo. This time, it's Carrot, the ruler of the Minks. She might look like she's around 18, but she's actually 3 years younger, being just 15 years old. Crazy, right? But despite her young age, Carrot's been out there going toe-to-toe with some very tough opponents, like Big Mom's forces when she went all out in her Sulong form. So it's not exactly a shock that Inuarashi and Nekomamushi chose her to take over as the next ruler of the Mokomo Dukedom. That said, I can't help but feel like she should have joined the crew, but oh well. Now, let's talk about Koby, but not the post-time skip badass island smasher. I'm talking about the scared little cabin boy of the Alvida pirates, Koby. Back in episode 1 when we see Koby for the first time, he looked like a shy 12-year-old kid, right? But in fact, he was actually 16, just 1 year younger than Luffy at the time. While Luffy, at 17, already looked like a young man ready to take on the world, Koby, who had a timid personality, shaky voice, and general lack of confidence, felt like a kid who wasn't ready to handle anything. But fast forward to the post-Ennis Lobby arc when Koby makes his comeback at Water 7, trying to take down Luffy, and wow, what a glow-up! After training like crazy under Garp, Koby was unrecognizable, confident, focused, and way more powerful. That scared little cabin boy was gone, and for the first time, Koby actually looked and acted like his age. After talking about Koby, we've got to talk about Charlotte Pudding. But why? Well, because Pudding, who of course looked a lot older than Koby, is actually the same age as Koby here. Yep, Pudding is also 16 years old. It's wild because her confidence and the way she handles herself as part of Big Mom's elaborate schemes make her seem so much older. Add to that her role in the arranged marriage with Sanji where she wanted to kill him, and it's easy to forget she's just 16. So yeah, Sanji was about to marry a 16-year-old. Next up, we've got Chopper. With his small size, fluffy fur, and adorable, childlike personality, you'd think he's like 10 years old, right? But nope, Chopper is actually 17 years old. Then again, it's not like I'd know how old a raccoon dog is supposed to look. Even his crew treats him like the baby of the group, although not Zoro, of course. But don't let that cute look fool you. Chopper is a genius doctor, and when he goes all out with his monster point, you won't think he's that cute anymore. Next up, we've got Sugar, the special officer of the Don Quixote Pirates, who can turn people into toys with her hobby fruit. You probably think she's about 10 years old, but in reality, she's 22. But wait, there's actually an explanation for this. Because when she ate the hobby fruit at the age of 10, it came with a pretty wild side effect. It completely stopped her aging. So, while she's stuck in the body of a 10-year-old, her real age is 22. Talk about a bittersweet power, right? Let's talk about Nico Robin, who looks like she's in her mid-20s, maybe around 25. However, she's actually 30 years old. But when you think about it, it kinda makes sense. Because although she doesn't look 30, Robin's always been way more mature than the rest of the crew. She's calm, collected, and has this chill intellectual vibe that contrasts perfectly with the chaotic energy of the Straw Hats. Plus, she's kind of the mom of the group, especially when it comes to looking out for Chopper. So her age definitely shows more in her personality than in her looks. Now we've got Boa Hancock, aka Luffy's wife. At least in her mind. When she first met Luffy, who was only 17 at the time, you'd probably assume Hancock was close to his age, right? Nope. She was actually 29 years old back then. And now, post-time skip, Hancock is 31 years old. Still as beautiful and powerful as always, and of course, still hopelessly in love with Luffy. But don't let her obsession with Luffy fool you. Hancock is so much more than just a love-struck fool. She's absolutely one of the most powerful women in the entire series, and unlike the soft spot she has for Luffy, Hancock doesn't go easy on anyone. So, when it's time to fight, she's ready. Now, someone who was an actual wife, Oden's wife to be exact, Kazuki Toki. Toki looks to be in her late 20s or early 30s, but she was actually 36 years old when she died. But that doesn't seem too crazy, right? Well, no. But technically, Toki was around 830 years old. Yeah, you heard that right. Toki ate the Time fruit, which gave her the ability to send herself or others forward in time. So, when she was 26, she found herself in a dangerous situation and ended up traveling 800 years into the future, where she eventually met Oden. So, while biologically she was 36 when she passed away in Wano, she was technically born over 8 centuries ago. Pretty wild, right? And since we're talking about Toki, we've got to mention Oden too. Oden looks like he's in his late 20s, maybe 28 at most. But nope. Oden was actually 39 years old. So, yeah. Just another character who doesn't look his age. Moving on, we have Doflamingo, the former tyrannical ruler of Dressrosa. When you take a good look at him, you probably think he's around 28 or 29, right? Nope, not even close. Doflamingo is actually 41 years old. Yeah, I know, for someone nicknamed Young Master, he's really not that young anymore. But if you think about it, his age does make a lot of sense. As we know, Doflamingo's lived a pretty crazy life. He's had time to become a warlord of the sea, build and run a massive underground empire, work as Kaido's broker, and even hold on to the throne of Dressrosa for 8 years. So, with all that under his belt, it's no surprise he's in his 40s. He needed the time to pull all of that off. Still, you've got to admit he absolutely doesn't look 41. Next up, we've got the former 1st Division commander of the Whitebeard pirates, Marco, who looks to be about 28 years old, right? But no, Marco is actually way older, as he's 45 years old. With his laid-back and fun vibe, together with his pineapple hairstyle, it's easy to think he's much younger. Plus, his cocky confidence, like casually squaring up against Marine admirals, absolutely makes us think he's way younger, as he can be too confident for his own good. But he's been Whitebeard's right-hand man since the crew's golden era, back when Whitebeard himself was in his prime and clashing with Gold D. Roger. So, being part of that legendary era means Marco's seen it all, and it makes sense he's pretty old. Another former Whitebeard pirate we've got to talk about is Izo. Why? Because just like Marco, Izo is 45 years old. Seriously, he looks like he's 25 at most, and even saying he's in his 30s feels like a stretch. But in his 40s? That's wild. But again, just like Marco, Izo has been part of the Whitebeard pirates since the crew's prime days. So, while he doesn't look his age, his experience definitely backs it up. Now we've got Katakuri, and figuring out his age is a bit tricky. But when you take a good look at him, you'd probably guess he's around 28 to 30, right? Well, think again. Katakuri is actually 48 years old, and you best believe that he's still in his absolute prime. Because we can't forget that before his legendary showdown with Luffy, Katakuri had never been defeated, and had never even fallen on his back. For 48 years, this guy maintained an undefeated streak that solidified his reputation as a powerhouse in the Big Mom Pirates. So, while his youthful appearance might surprise you, his age just makes his insane track record even more impressive. Let's talk about Shiki, the former Empress of Amazon Lily, who looks to be around her 30s, or if you're really pushing it, maybe her early 40s. But nope, she's actually 62 years old. If you didn't know, Shiki was a seriously powerful pirate over 40 years ago. As the former Empress of Amazon Lily and leader of the Kuja tribe, she's got an incredible history that's easy to forget now that she's just a bar owner at Sabaody, hanging out with her man Rayleigh. But hey, some characters age like fine wine, and some absolutely don't. But Shiki is a prime example that age is just a number in the world of One Piece. Now, let's talk about someone who's actually really old. Just don't tell her that, because you'll get kicked in your face. Dr. Kureha. Now, unlike most of the characters we've talked about who looks really young, Kureha does actually look very old. So, you'd probably guess she's around 80 or 90, which is already impressive. But nope, she's on a whole different level, as she's 141 years old. Yeah, 141 years old. But how is that even possible? She's just a regular human, right? Well, yeah. Oda himself confirmed that Kureha's lifespan is actually normal for the One Piece world, where normal humans can live up to 140 years. But, as Kureha's even older than that, Oda also explained that she's considered a superhuman, not in the devil fruit sense, but because she's just built different. So, at 141 years old, Kureha's still running strong, still practicing medicine, and still as fearsome as ever. So, which one of these characters do you think looks the least like their age? Or maybe you've got another character in mind who really doesn't look their age. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next,